Dragonkin Toolbox is today's deck profile discussion. While this deck profile might not be in your mind 100% there, there's the fact that BT23 introduced one new card for Owen in the form of elizamon. However, because of the release of Billy and Bullet, this also introduces a reprint of a certain card that previously wasn't as readily available. Per the usual, this video will cover the cards that the newest set offers, the combos, and of course the overall deck profile. Get ready, because this deck has some very interesting interactions. BT23 offers only one card for this particular deck, being the newest elizamon. This reptile Digimon is a 3-cost red Digimon that has the liberator trait, and is the Digivolution cost reducer when you go into a reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon by 1 memory. However, unlike its Searcher counterpart, this Digimon has a your turn effective plus 2000 DP. While DP buffs might be important in the up-and-coming meta, the memory gain that was previously offered is also very strong. Some decks have the capability to digivolve into their Digimon at reduced costs, or even free, and this deck can do very similar things. While this is the sole card that elevates Dragonkin decks, the inclusion of Billy and Bullet also means that one promo card got a reprint that might be what makes this deck more readily available for players. And if you were asking, what card has the Dragonkin trait? The answer is the promo flamedramon. While this flamedramon does cost 3 memory to digivolve into from a red or blue Digimon, and is only 2 memory from a Vmon, the newest elizamon also makes it a 2-cost Digivolution. This powerful card has Armor Purge and Raid, and a your turn effect once per turn, in which when this Digimon attacks, if attack target changes, your opponent adds their top security card to the hand. One reason why this card effect is so important is because combined with the gigimon of BT21, when you raid into a specified target, you can now digivolve into a level 5 Digimon card with a reptile or Dragonkin trait in the hand, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. Which means, pending other card effects you may have, you could be looking at a climb all the way to level 6 in a single turn. Briefly, before going over the combos, there are several other key cards that help this deck. Take Raging Serpentine for example. This 8-cost red option card has a main effect that deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. And when it's hidden security, it also deletes the Digimon with the highest DP. However, when you use this option card from your hand, its cost is reduced by 4 if your opponent has 3 or fewer security. And the main effect also places this option card into the battle area. To which, when your opponent's security is removed from, whether it be yours or your opponent's turn, you can digivolve into a Digimon with a reptile or Dragonkin trait in the hand without paying the cost. Not only can this option card be your saving grace against decks like Hoodiemon, but also against other decks that have Digimon that are immune from Digimon effects. Now combine this with flamedramon and gigimon, and you could definitely be climbing into a level 6 in 1 turn off just 3 memory. But what are your combos that really shine with this deck? Ideally, your opening hand is of course going to look for at least 1 level 3. That's always a given, whether it be for the Digivolution cost reducer or the Searcher. Those are your golden level 3s as a starter. 2 level 3s will make it an immediate snap keep, but if you do have options, they're kind of your defensive line if you really need it. The most ideal hand of course is going to be a level 3, 4, 5, and 6. From the Gigimon, you want to utilize the new elizamon as your level 3 on the promote, because even if your opponent chokes you to 1 memory, with the presence of Owen Dreadnought, you can digivolve into flamedramon and start going for massive security damage. The best part is, when you attack with flamedramon and raid into your opponent's Digimon, you can utilize the effect of flamedramon to force your opponent's security to change, which means you can now digivolve into your level 5 Digimon with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. In which case, for 3 memory and potentially passing turn, you set up paildramon. Paildramon's Digivolution gives you a DP buff and also piercing, which means in combination with flamedramon's raid, you're able to do 2 checks with the stack assuming no blast Digivolution plays. Early game, this is also valuable because this puts you in a threshold to use Raging Serpentine for its reduced cost of 4 in the future. And in future attacks, you're able to climb into Medusamon or other Dragonkin equivalents for free. Do keep in mind that for the ideal scenario, having the Raging Serpentine with the Flamedramon stack is most optimum. Because again, when you raid with Flamedramon, the attack target changed, which means you get to use Gigimon's effect to go into Paildramon for free for the DP buffs and piercing, before using Raging Serpentine to go into Medusamon for 0 memory. Combined with Paildramon's Inheritable, you now have Medusamon's inherent +1 security and progress. And you've removed 4 security on a single swing. And since Omnimon X is a Liberator trait card, it also makes it searchable in this deck, with the likes of elizamon as an endgame finisher. And if you're able to develop 2 stacks at the same time, this is where your memory efficiency goes up exponentially. The only downside to the deck is that there isn't a lot of card draw and searching. Most of what you can do in regards to searching hinges on the Searcher elizamon. And while you could run trainings, red decks have to commit to either speed or consistency. The Gil Toolbox engine is probably the only red engine that offers any semblance of consistency at this point, while other decks have their own problems to contend with. As for the overall deck profile, what have I been testing with? With Owen Dreadnought, there's only one egg that really works with him, and that's the Gigimon from BT23. This egg has an effect where when your opponent's security stack is removed from, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card, with a reptile or Dragonkin trait with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. Note that the phrasing of this effect mirrors similar Digimon of the past, and because of how security checks operate, if you run into something like an option card, this could remove your stack before you can utilize its effect. When security is checked, the card is flipped to reveal it. Any security effects immediately trigger, whether it be from a Digimon effect or an option card. Cards like Starter Deck Magnamon could de-Digivolve your stack, and then if there aren't enough sources, could spin your Digimon back to the hand, while option cards could just immediately delete it. This is where Progress comes in handy because this effect ignores all those security effects, taking you straight to comparing DP for the actual security battle, which before that security battle takes place, Gigimon's effect would trigger. There aren't any other eggs you could use, but strictly speaking, an egg like Gurimon from the Jesmon build would really only work if you're in the level 5 or 6 category. Koromon is a potential option here because you do have ways to remove from the security, but my overall opinion is you're looking to climb up quickly into your level 6s. For level 3s, the line is relatively simple. Force Searcher Elizamon helps you add almost any card in the deck except for your scrambles. This card can add a Dragonkin or Reptile trait Digimon for the first part, and then a Liberator trait card with the second part. Meaning you can also add cards like Raging Serpentine, Omnimon X, or even your tamer Owen Dreadnought. Of course, with the new elizamon, we're also going to maximize this as a 4 of Digivolution cost reducer. And then for the last one, we're looking at utilizing the Agumon from BT23. This card on play lets you return a card with a Reptile or Dragonkin trait to hand. But outside of these, there are very few viable Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon in this category that are viable for the deck. You could start with Floodgates like Gaussmon, who is searchable and prevents your opponents from reducing Digivolution costs. However, you could also use Gatsumon to fight back against certain decks that play Digimon by card effects, but this does stop Medusamon from playing tokens to your opponent's board. And while the Rush Guilmon is a body that could also be used, because of its limited status, you'll still need to fill out the last 3 slots with something, and should only utilize this card if you can somehow trash cards quickly, along with the lamiamon to maximize its ability to be potentially played. For the level 4s, this is where you have some flexibility, but still not a lot of options. Dimetromon is an option you have to play your Owen Tamers, which means you could play up to 2 of them for free. It also has an inheritable memory gain. However, because it is limited to 2 Tamers, I only run 2 copies of this card. With the other Dimetro, it has Progress, which means I have less fear going into security, and Blast Digivolution while also maintaining the memory gain. Here, you also have a security effect that allows you to play Liberator trait cards with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand or trash. Could be Tamers, could be elizamons for searching, or elizamons to set up quick Evo climbs the following turn. While there are a slew of red Dragonkin level 4s, Cyclonemon is still viable for its ability to spawn itself to the battlefield if it's hit in security, and delete a 4000 DP or lower body. While it does provide DP buffs, I definitely wanted the flamedramon instead, who could potentially clear force security on swing under optimal conditions. Other than Cyclonemon, the other options don't feel great in my mind since they don't have the same oomph or power that I'm really looking for. Level 5s, you'll notice that they're relatively simple and basic. The first contention being, why am I not running Lamiamon? While this is a Liberator trait card and has Progress, if you do raid with Flamedramon, Lamia's Your Turn effect won't trigger because it was not present when the attack redirect happened. As a result, you wouldn't trash your opponent's top security card. And while its inheritable could be helpful, I need something a little more proactive. To that end, raiding with Flamedramon means that once security is trashed, I can go into paildramon for a cost of 3. And because I'm still going into a Digimon, I place the DP buffs and piercing on it as well. In short, that means that this paildramon becomes a 14,000 DP piercer with the new elizamon and sources, and with a Raging Serpentine I can be a really big Medusamon, or my alternative level 6. This largely leaves cyberdramon from BT23 as the only other option, because most of the other Dragonkin level 5s are trait specific, or require other pieces in the case of Savior Huckmon. The cyberdramon just provides more DP buffs to my Digimon, though the preference is always going to be paildramon if I could get there. For level 6s, I tested a lot of different Dragonkin level 6s in this build. OG wargreymon could circumvent aspects of options and security, but it's not much of a problem right now in the current meta. And while black wargreymon is nice, because we lack black sources, we're unable to target tamers. Black Wargreymon X was another consideration, but ultimately it seemed too costly in my mind to utilize it for what I want to do. And without X Antibody, we can't delete bodies and only redirect them. Gaiomon like Black Wargreymon loses its D-Digivolve effect without a black source, but the newer Gaiomon was something that I definitely strongly considered as well. Ultimately, there were 3 options I landed on. Medusamon was one of the best options because of the fact that she can place petrification tokens into play and proc your Owens at return for memory. Because these tokens can't suspend or be used for anything, this means that if you leave enough of them up on board, the BT21 Rush Wargreymon is another great option that can unsuspend and double as a blocker, or even play itself for free as another attacker. But most of all, because of how memory can be at times, we might pass over the memory on a level 5. And with other concerns like Hoodiemon for example attacking out, this is where Black Wargreymon Ace might also be a critical piece that helps against a lot of other decks out there. Royal Knights and Omni decks largely can't touch Black Wargreymon Ace at a certain point. Hoodiemon is a play cost 7 Digimon, and though it's protected from battle with Barrier from Agumon sometimes, it could also be a bigger attacker with Alliance, and Black Wargreymon Ace can just delete it before anything happens. Coupled with the Dragonkin status and Owen being able to give it piercing, this Digimon can end of turn attack, pull back the memory if it has the right inheritables, and then reboot for blocker. For your finishers, if you're on a tighter budget, Blitz Omnimon from BT5 works, but the cream of the crop is always going to be Liberator Omnimon X. Because of its Liberator trait, this also makes it searchable via Elizamon's effect. Nothing else to really explain here unless you wanted to run a meme option in the form of Agumon Bond of Bravery Ace. I hadn't tried it, but I really wanted to because we do run Agumons as well, and this could be a distraction while your opponent is focused on deleting your main stack. Option-wise, 4 Raging Serpentine adds nice surprises waiting in the security, but if you use them, this is where you get so much more value. But with 2 flex spots for options, I tried Crimson Blaze for other decks like Royal Knights, Jessamon, and Hoodie. Offense trainings can be used for searching, but the reduction doesn't feel as good with how you can cheat with your other card effects. But if we compare it to Scrambles, it's mainly to use the effects to recycle red cards to the top and use them again later. And lastly for Tamers, it's all Owen Dreadnought. 2 memory fixers because at times you do need that 3 memory. And then 4 copies of the one that provides piercing and lets you attack end of turn with a reptile or Dragonkin trait card. Dragonkin Toolbox was a very fun build to explore, and while not perfect by any means, the new elizamon does elevate it slightly with the reprint of promo flamedramon for players to have access to. What are your thoughts on this deck, and what would you change? Let me know in the comments as I explore other archetypes from BT23. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.